So today we are going to talk about the frequency adverbs. And before I teach you frequency adverbs, I think there's an important thing that you must learn, which is how often. How often is used to ask a question about the frequency of your action that you do. Let's suppose if I say, how often do you call to your friends? How often do you visit your brother's home? So here I want to ask that what is the frequency of the action that you do? Every action that we do can be divided into some frequencies, like whether we do it 10%, we do it 20%, we do it 50%, or we do it 100%. So when we ask someone a question that how often someone does something, that means we are asking him the routine of that action, that with what routine he or she does that action, or to what percentage someone does that action. So let's learn how often in detail, that how we use how often, where we use how often, and let's discuss the frequency adverbs. When somebody asks us a question using how often, we have to use a frequency adverbs to answer this question. So let's learn how often and the frequency adverbs in detail in this video.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today we're going to discuss about how often and frequency adverbs. So let's get started. So first of all, we are going to discuss the usage. We use how often to ask the routine or frequency of some action, and we use frequency adverbs to tell the routine or frequency of some action. So what do you mean by what does it mean by frequency of action? The frequency of action means we can divide the action into some percentage. Like if something is done 0%, then we can say we never do something or we never do that. And if something is done 100%, then we can say we always do that. So the action can be divided into the frequency to percentage. So that's why the frequency verb is used. Frequency word is used over here. So let's see it in the detail. So what are the Urdu identification of using how often? So when we use how often, in Urdu we mean किस तरतीब से कब कब. तुम ऑफिस कब कब जाते हो, तुम घर पे कब कब होते हो, तुम उसे किस तरतीब से फ़ोन करते हो, something like that. So let's discuss about the structure of how often. We use how often, then any interrogative sentence and the question mark. This any interrogative sentence is mostly present simple tense, noun action or action. Let's take the examples. How often do you play cricket? How often does he tell a lie? How often does your father scold you? Scold means डांटना. How often do they instigate you? वो आपको कब कब वर्गलाते हैं. Instigate means to make someone or provoke someone to do something. How often does she cook delicious food? So this is how we use how often to ask the routine or the frequency of some action. Now let's talk about the frequency adverbs themselves, how to use the frequency adverbs and answer the question asked using how often. Like if somebody asks you a question using how often, then you have to use frequency adverbs to answer. So these are the frequency adverbs with the frequency. What are the frequencies? You can see if we say always, which means hamesha, that means 100%. If we say usually, that means umuman, 90%. If we say normally, that means aam taur par, 80%. If we say often or often, it's a difference of British and American, often and often. So if we say often, that means 70%, which means aksar awqat. If we say sometimes, that means 50%, which means kabhi kabhar ya kabhi kabhi. Occasionally means kisi khas mauke mawake par, that means 30%. Seldom, bahut hi kam, that means 10%. Hardly ever, that means na hone ke barabar, bahut hi kam. Never means 0%, that means 0%. So you can see the example. She always goes to the nightclub to dance. They usually quarrel. I normally go to the gym. They often go out for dinner. I sometimes go with my husband. I sometimes go with my wife anyways. I occasionally eat junk food. I seldom read the newspaper. I hardly ever drink alcohol. I never go to the cinema. I don't like it. Now I can give you some more examples. To use the frequency adverbs, we use subject and then any frequency adverbs and first form of the verb and object if you're using them in present simple tense. And frequency adverbs are mostly used in present simple tense. I never play cricket because I don't like it. She sometimes calls me in a week. My father never scolds me because I'm a good man or a good son. I always take tea 3 to 4 times in a day. We usually watch TV because we are free. So this is how we use the frequency adverbs to tell the frequency of some action or to tell our routine how often we do something. So I hope you understand this very well. So if there is still any question, you can drop in the comment section and I'll get back to you. Thank you very much.